Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of Southeast Kingsland. Now my original plans for this episode was to be building the start of Tyrone Bay. That will still happen this episode, but I ran into a small problem. I realised that I needed power, I needed water, I needed those facilities. It's something that you always forget for cities. You start building, you go, I need to get all the boring stuff out of the way. So I started building this area, which is going to be called Wollumbin Valley and Wollumbin Dam, which is over there. So that name is based off this area. That mountain is going to be called Mount Wollumbin. In real life, it's called Mount Warning, but that is the Aboriginal name, Wollumbin. So we are going to call it that in this episode. And this is Wollumbin Valley. Now, the second problem I ran into in this episode is I was recording and I noticed that my footage, it came out very, very choppy. And that was just due to my OBS settings. So that's what made this original footage, which would have been a time lapse of me building this entire area. So including the dam as well, which is up here. So that footage has disappeared. But it's fine. It's only a small part of this episode. So I'll just give you a quick run through today on what I built and how I built it, and then we will go into a time lapse where I start building the layout for Tyrone Bay. So I'll start with the dam. So everyone knows how finicky dams can be for those that play City Skylines. So I built it across here. I raised it to a higher level just so that I could get more electricity out of it. So right now it has really good electricity production. So what I did is I ended up using Move It, selected the item, and then I lowered it, because then I realized once I lowered it, it got more power through it. There was a lot of chopping and changing on what to do and the water levels here, so that it can all flow through, and then that's going to be my water source, which sucks up a lot of the water so it doesn't go down into the river too much. And I built some canals there to make it look more man-made before it goes into the creek that this used to go into. The creek goes out into this outlet here. This area is nowhere near complete, but it will be complete at some time in the future. So these areas are complete, and then it sort of ends here. There'll be a small town there, which I don't have a name for yet, but it'll be bigger than this town. So it'll be a medium-sized country town there. Let's get out of electricity mode so you can see. And then we will go back down. Why is it going back into electricity? Oh well, we'll keep it at this and close that. And then go into that. Perfect. Okay, so on the dam, I built this cafe and office for the dam. So there's a cafe there, people can come visit this place here, and then they can come out and have a good view of the dam, come up here for a day trip. See, I made this actually a police station because this town had a fair bit of crime. So I was like, okay, we need a police station. This is the police station, but I masked it with that usually says police on there. It's a New Zealand police station, so it looks very Australian. And then I just custom made these, how do I call them? Tables and umbrellas. Here's the lake here, and there is a small boat ramp here for people to have boat access to go out onto this lake during the day. And then now down into Wollumbin Valley. So some small farms here and some small country houses with, usually in Australia, you have a country town and you will just have a small general shop there, usually with a little park next to it. So yeah, this is the main town here, some old country homes. I'm very happy with the way that this turned out. It looks amazing. So, and then on the outskirts, it's like obviously this town used to be all farms, and then it turned into a bit of a community. More and more houses built over time. So farms along here, farms there as well. So then there's some crops that I laid down. And something that's really, really good for how farms look in real life is when you look at it on Google Earth, you'll see trees that line the fence, which look really, really good. So, and then I've just had a makeshift road to go through there. That'll go to the major town that will be there, and then we will go into this area to build, and this will be the next area to build, which is the bay. So that leads me into the time lapse where I'm going to be showing off this. In the episode, I at least want to have the layout of the town going. So that'll be good to see. So I'll leave you with that. So as you can see, I've already laid out some of the town. There's a train line going through. So this is based off the real life town Byron Bay, and it actually does have a train line that goes through the town, but it is abandoned. So so the train line that goes through Byron is abandoned, and it's been abandoned ever since I've been alive. In this series, it will be functional. It is going to have access to the other places. So, and that's a good thing about basing your realistic maps on city skylines off real places in the world, because then you can just look on Google Earth, which is what I did, to look down and copy what I can see, what I can base it off. So if you have look at a lot of small towns in Australia, you see that they have some, on the main roads, some really wide roads, and then they have diagonal parking, and there's usually always lots and lots of roundabouts. So Australia loves its roundabouts. So unfortunately, City Skylines doesn't have an easy access feature for roundabouts, so you have to make custom ones, which is what I'm doing here. It's just a custom made roundabout. And on the wide roads as well, these wide avenues, diagonal parking. So that will be coming up. It's going to look really good, and it's going to be completely functional. And as you can see on the road, I also put down some shore pines, which looks very similar to how the roads look in Byron Bay. It's going to look really good once it's all functional. I was going to put down a pedestrian crossing there, but I don't think it really mattered, so I didn't put it in. Maybe I'll need to download some decals for pedestrian crossings in the future and place them on top. This is the problem with trying to make a small roundabout. There's a bit of glitching, so a bit of trial and error to try and figure that out. With a lot of these streets, I'm just copying the main central part of Byron Bay. So I'm not making it as big. If I did make it as big, it would take up a quarter of the map. So it's just going to be the central areas, the landmarks, and all those places. So here are those diagonal parks. I think they look amazing. They look so good for the game. So it'll be really good to see when cars come and park into that. This time lapse is just the layout. The next episode will be up on the headland. We'll be working on that. And Tyrone Bay is going to have a large lighthouse because it's the most eastern point of the map. And in real life, Byron Bay is the most eastern point of Australia. So that'll look really, really good when we've completed this. And right here I'm just making a custom planner. So just placing these down so that I can put some trees in the spots where I couldn't curve the parking lots. So I think that's going to look really nice when it comes up. And here for the rest, I'm just copying the sort of main layout of the town. It has good access for roads and everything like that. So that'll look really good. And the center of the town will have shops, businesses surrounded by suburbs and schools. So with Byron Bay in real life, it is a very kind of like a hippie town, but not completely. It's just a free-spirited town, you know. So I'm going to make the town themed like that. It's going to look really, really good. And then, yeah, on the other side of the train station, there's just some more suburbs, and there's actually a market over there. So I'll be able to place down a parkland, and I'll have the market going. And like that, we're at the end of this time lapse. So I'll leave you with some cinematics to finish off the episode. Thank you to everyone who joined in, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.